Okay, so this story takes place about 10 or 11 years ago when I was still in middle school. And it was that time of year the ACT comes around, right? And the teachers have all the students separated in different classrooms depending on if you were testing or not. And I was in one of the classrooms that wasn't testing. And our only task in this room was to just be quiet. And so we had one of the coaches watching over us at the time. And for the sake of the story, we'll just call him Coach Jerry. And Coach Jerry tells us, you guys can talk, or not talk, but you guys can write on a piece of paper and pass notes, but just don't talk. So of course, me and the guys at the table were writing in a little note, and we were passing it around. And this note is just chaos, right? It's got Hitler jokes and 9/11 jokes and everything you could imagine a 13-year-old boy could come up with. But we were all keeping it pretty together for right now. But I'm about to introduce the guy in front of me. We're gonna call him Benson, okay? For the sake of the story, we're gonna call him Benson. Benson isn't a normal kid. Benson is like fucking hilarious. Benson's hilarious. Probably the funniest guy I know till this day. Anyway, Benson starts making paper airplanes, and we were all like, he's just bored. He's not gonna. You might throw him across the classroom. He was one of those kids. He would disrupt and all that. He might throw that. But then Benson does something a little bit unexpected, a little bit wacky, right? A little bit out of character. Benson starts making paper buildings to go along with these paper airplanes he's already made. And then he starts just blankly staring at us, right? He's got these paper buildings set up. And he just starts plowing through them with this fucking with this fucking paper airplane. And on the sides of these buildings he's written like Allah Akbar and a whole bunch of other shit, right? We're losing it at this point. Everyone at the table is fucking dying. Like, we're trying to keep it down, but we're just losing it. And Benson doesn't stop, right? He proceeds to just keep standing these buildings up and knocking them over. He's standing them up and knocking them over. Hilarious shit, right? And Coach Jerry's starting to get a little curious at this time. He starts getting up, but we don't notice that yet. So Coach Jerry starts getting up, right? And he starts walking towards us. No one really sees this yet. Coach Jerry starts standing over the guy's shoulder to my left. We'll call this guy to my left Perry, right? So Perry doesn't realize, Coach Jerry's right above him. But then he does, right? And then so that note we were passing around, back to that note we were passing around, right? Perry grabs that piece of paper and crumbles it up as fast as he could. But Coach Jerry was on to him. Coach Jerry was on to him. He said, let me see what that says. And he tells us to be quiet, And he starts walking back to his desk with that piece of paper crumpled up still. He starts uncrumbling it, right? Starts unfolding it, trying to read what we've written on there. He gets back to his desk and he gets it uncrumbled. And it takes him about 30 seconds, right? And we're all sitting there, dude. My heart's already sunk. I'm fucking shaking. I'm terrified. I'm like, fuck, he's got the note, dude. And I wrote shit in that note, And, about 30 seconds goes by. And he says, who wrote this? Fucking, who wrote this? And my buddies stand up, And I'm looking at him like, shit, dude. Like, y'all gotta take the blame. I'm not saying that out loud because the whole room's quiet at this point. I'm thinking in my head, like, if these guys could just take the blame, I'll be alright. Because I know for a fact that my parents cared way more about this shit than theirs did. And I was right, They definitely did. That was the outcome. But, yeah, so he's like, who wrote this, And I'm not standing up. My buddies are standing up. And he gets them over there and realizes, there's only two guys and three different types of handwriting on this paper, and there's only two guys standing in front of me. So he's like, who else was there? And my friends, like, they didn't want to rat me out, but they had to, right? So they tell I tell Coach Jerry it was me, and I stand up. I'm like, fuck, and I could barely stand. My legs are fucking shaking, dude. My legs were fucking shaking. I go over there, and Coach Jerry makes us all. He's like pointing out every sentence on the paper, and he's making us say like which one of us wrote which thing. And we go through the whole thing, and he sends us down to the office. The principal took copies of that piece of paper and sent it to all our parents. So when I got home, my parents already had this piece of paper, and they were not happy. I got grounded at home. I got fucking ISS at school. Dude, it was terrible. And the fucking Coach Jerry, he was like the football coach, and I was in football at the time, and I got punished, like physical punishment for doing all that. Like if you get in trouble at school, you get in trouble at football. So he made us push sleds and do duck walks and all these other crazy exercises for like an hour or two. And he was yelling at us the whole time like, what if my mom was in 9/11? What if my dad died in 9/11? I'd probably put hands on you kids right now. Like acting all big and bad and shit. That shit was just crazy. But that's about it. So